Equality is not an act, it is a habit. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. In all things of nature, there is something of the marvelous. Anybody can become angry. That is easy, but to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. There is no great genius without some touch of madness. Happiness depends upon ourselves. Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. At his best, man is the noblest of all animals, separated from law and justice he is the worst. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. Well begun is half done. Mothers are fonder than fathers of their children because they are more certain they are their own. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies. For the hardest victory is over self. A friend to all is a friend to none. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. He who is unable to live in society, or who has no need because he is sufficient for himself, must be either a beast or a god. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. Hope is a waking dream. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Good habits formed at youth make all the difference. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. The law is reason, free from passion. Republics decline into democracies, and democracies degenerate into despotisms. We make war that we may live in peace. Personal beauty is a greater recommendation than any letter of reference. Those that know, do. Those that understand, teach. The aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. Democracy is when the indigent, and not the men of property, are the rulers. The secret to humor is surprise. Courage is the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees the others. What it lies in our power to do, it lies in our power not to do. Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only gave them life, those the art of living well. The greatest virtues are those which are most useful to other persons. It is best to rise from life as from a banquet, neither thirsty nor drunken. Jealousy is both reasonable and belongs to reasonable men, while envy is base and belongs to the base, for the one makes himself get good things by jealousy, while the other does not allow his neighbor to have them through envy. The end of labor is to gain leisure. The soul never thinks without a picture. Youth is easily deceived because it is quick to hope. It is just that we should be grateful, not only to those with whose views we may agree, but also to those who have expressed more superficial views, for these also contributed something by developing before us the powers of thought. Change in all things is sweet. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in deserving them. Fear is pain arising from the anticipation of evil. Education is the best provision for old age. Education is an ornament in prosperity and a refuge in adversity. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. Suffering becomes beautiful when anyone bears great calamities with cheerfulness, not through insensibility, but through greatness of mind. The state comes into existence for the sake of life and continues to exist for the sake of good life. Moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts, temperate by doing temperate acts, brave by doing brave acts. All human actions have one or more of these 7 causes: chance, Nature, compulsions, habit, reason, passion, desire. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. A tyrant must put on the appearance of uncommon devotion to religion. Subjects are less apprehensive of illegal treatment from a ruler whom they consider God-fearing and pious. On the other hand, they do less easily move against him, believing that he has the gods on his side. Even when laws have been written down, they ought not always to remain unaltered. What is educated insolence? The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. My best friend is the man who in wishing me well wishes it for my sake. Character may almost be called the most effective means of persuasion. The most perfect political community is one in which the middle class is in control and outnumbers both of the other classes. Probable impossibilities are to be preferred to improbable possibilities. All paid jobs absorb and degrade the mind. To run away from trouble is a form of cowardice, and while it is true that the suicide braves death, he does it not for some noble object, but to escape some ill. A great city is not to be confounded with a populous one. The duty of rhetoric is to deal with such matters as we deliberate upon without arts or systems to guide us. In the hearing of persons who cannot take in at a glance a complicated argument or follow a long chain of reasoning, I have gained this from philosophy, that I do without being commanded what others do only from fear of the law. The least initial deviation from the truth is multiplied later 1,000-fold. In a democracy, the poor will have more power than the rich, because there are more of them, and the will of the majority is supreme. If one way be better than another, that you may be sure is nature's way. In poverty and other misfortunes of life, true friends are a sure refuge. The young they keep out of mischief, to the old they are a comfort and aid in their weakness, and those in the prime of life they incite to noble deeds. A whole is more than the sum of its parts. There was never a genius without a tincture of madness. Some animals are cunning and evil disposed, as the fox. Others, as the dog, are fierce, friendly, and fawning. Some are gentle and easily tamed, as the elephant. Some are susceptible of shame and watchful, as the goose. Some are jealous and fond of ornament, as the peacock. We become just by performing just action, temperate by performing temperate actions, brave by performing brave action. Perfect friendship is the friendship of men who are good, and alike in excellence, for these wish well alike to each other qua good, and they are good in themselves. Persuasion is achieved by the speaker's personal character, when the speech is so spoken as to make us think him credible. We believe good men more fully and more readily than others. This is true generally whatever the question is, and absolutely true where exact certainty is impossible and opinions are divided. Plato is dear to me, but dearer still is truth. Man is by nature a political animal. The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to danger, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing, in great crises, to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live. Without friends no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. For one swallow does not make a summer, nor does one day, and so too one day, or a short time, does not make a man blessed and happy. All men by nature desire knowledge. Both oligarch and tyrant mistrust the people, and therefore deprive them of their arms. Immoral virtues, then, are produced in us neither by nature nor against nature. Nature, indeed, prepares in us the ground for their reception, but their complete formation is the product of habit. He who is to be a good ruler must have first been ruled. If liberty and equality, as is thought by some, are chiefly to be found in democracy, they will be best attained when all persons alike share in government to the utmost.